firing down the hill into the garrison over here. Look at that, while they're still deciding what to do with their own formation. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War. Feels like we haven't done this for quite some time now, and that's for the same reason we had to take a break for War on the Sea, because I had birthdays and other sorts of real life things to get on with. Now, we're a little ahead on where we left the previous video, and that's because I did actually have a video prepared for you, but let's say due to technical difficulties, it's always technical difficulties, did actually lose that video. But you're not missing out on too much here. We are just about to take Madrid, and at the end of the video did manage to do that. We are joining from destroying the Spanish main army, which has just happened. That is a full 20 stack, nothing too superb, mostly basic line infantry, 5 units of cannon, and just some basic militia. So we're going to go straight on to Madrid. And we'll see that actually this is once again militia, provincial militia, this is trained militia, and some armed citizenry. Of course, as it suggests, not at all trained infantry at all. In fact, the most horrible units they have in this particular battle will be the guerrillas, and that's simply because they're lighter infantry with greater accuracy than the standard line infantry. But of course, across the board, the Spanish infantry does not have very good morale. So as long as we can get some decent morale shocks, and we are a little bit battered, you can see our light foot and a few of our line infantry are a bit battered, particularly these two King's German Legion are rather battered, but not a problem there, so long as they stay away a little bit and get supportive well, we should be okay for this battle here. So let's go in and finally take Madrid to kick off this episode, shall we? Now, before we press start, the plan with this battle is to use as few infantry as possible so that we don't take quite so many losses, of course. Always ideal to not take too many losses. We are going to push up with our cannons just a little bit so that we do have range onto the enemy. Just take a central position over here. We do have a small woodland over here to take cover with just a few units of infantry. So that's all we're going to take in. Just 3 units of standard line infantry. Try and take forest cover over here into the small dippage, the small hills and foliage and such. Try and funnel the Spanish in across this line. To do so, we do have a good amount of units over here, our more elite infantry with our Royal Fusiliers and some Swiss Fusiliers to come in, try and secure this wood line and support those with light and heavy cavalry on the flank. Just to make sure we don't get outflanked too hard, we're going to move our light infantry onto this minor hill over here, as well as hide them in the foliage and such. Just make sure that the enemy, if they do decide to move through the town, try and pick them off there. We are going to support them once again with some battered light and heavy cavalry on the flank over here. We do have these units of reserve. We're going to keep these back, just try and plug any holes if need be. But because the Spanish infantry does have lower morale than us, I don't see it being too much of a problem. Even just using this central line as well as the cannons, mopping up with some cavalry as well, I think should be absolutely fine. But of course, that depends on where the AI is going to move for us. Let's try and move into position. So, joining us, the enemy is moving forwards. It is moving forwards, but we are managing to rout them off very quickly. Have had to bring in our reserve, what was planned as the reserve over here. We're just taking the lip of the hill over here. I think we'll double time, actually perform a straight firing line there. Come around with the cavalry to get that while that's engaged. Threatening our light infantry, which have helped with this centre, but the Spanish are coming around now. We're just forgetting they're sending their acting general in over here, which is rather interesting. We'll pin him down with a cavalry charge. Curling round because the Spanish are focusing the centre over here. So we'll come back to our cannons, turn back on round shot and go for this massive blob of Spanish over here. And that means we can actually deal with this unit. Make sure that routes off with our cavalry. Go around with our light infantry. We weren't planning on using these too aggressively to begin with, but that's absolutely fine. Just about in range of this unit, but I think we're trying... No, we are certainly trying over here. That's excellent. Actually routing off this unit once again. And look at this massive blob of Spanish infantry coming in here. That is brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant. So we'll funnel them straight into our cannons. Cause mass confusion across the line. How are we doing on this flank with that acting general? We should be able to fire on him as he retreats there. We have shattered him. He won't be coming back. And that's going to be excellent. So we are actually firing on the flank over here, which is excellent. See the great firepower rank coming out there. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. That's some garrison. Some militia garrison rather than standard line infantry. So we're going to follow through, make sure that does rout off completely shatter, and we will take the Spanish flank over here, completely encircle them, take control of the confusion over here, take advantage of it, and we'll have to stop firing unfortunately. I don't think we can fire over this minor hill without taking friendly casualties with our cannons, which is very sad to see. We'll bring our cavalry around the flank here. We can see these Spanish guerrillas at the back there. They should be hiding, really. Looks like the enemy tried to form a square, rather interestingly. We're going to have to watch out for our cavalry over here. It's just reminded us. What's happened to the heavy cavalry that was over here? Still actually back here, that's not a problem. General is threatened, but not to worry too much. It is the back line. That's probably some cannons bouncing without really directly targeting him. These Spanish are making a massive blob over here. We're just going to go around them. Once again, just force an engagement here. Take the foliage as cover. Get the cannons firing on that. And what we'll do is go around. Make sure we've got a better firing arc there. Double time that, of course. What are we doing over here? I think we're pushing a little too hard. Just a little too hard. Yeah, we'll stop here so we can fire out. Bring back our cavalry. In fact, the cavalry can take on the guerrillas because they can't form a square, being light infantry. Bring this cavalry in to deal with the cannons. Strange square in the middle there. And we are very, very poorly microing this. Forgetting. We need to stop here once again. Bouncing between everyone a little too quickly there, so I think what we'll do is bring Wellesley around. He has taken one loss. The enemy coming for a melee. That's certainly something they're going to lose if they do come in for a melee. Rousing. Okay, we'll bring Wellesley, give him some waypoints just to help our morale out, just in case we do decide to shatter a tad. Doing okay on the enemy's flank there. Massive, massive volleys coming out here though. The massive plumes of smoke coming out. Sure, our men can barely see their hands in front of their faces. You bloody hope so, to be honest, so they can see the enemy. Very nice charge onto the cannons. Very, very nice charge. Instantly shattered there. Coming to the flanks of this light infantry garrison. Or line infantry garrison, rather. Get on top of that, make sure that's shattered. We have actually not completely dealt with the guerrillas, but we'll do a cycle charge there. Double check what's our heavies doing over here. We'll bring them in. You see a max rout occurring for the Spanish centre, and that is absolutely brilliant. We will push forwards a little bit more with this particular unit, just to support over here. I do apologise if you hear a car outside. Most of motorbikes, I swear. Every time of day they come out. Okay, cycle charge once again. Get that on. Make sure everything routes off completely here. And that's a fairly clean victory there. Now the problem with taking a provincial capital, such as Madrid, is the unrest afterwards. So this is not going to be the cleanest long-term takeover. We're going to have to deal with mass rebellions afterwards, but this should clear out Madrid and we should take this now. There's 0 people remaining. Madrid is ours. Can't actually turn that into a puppet state, rather interestingly. So we are going to peacefully occupy. Thank you very much. And what we're going to do is, to help ourselves out over here, we're going to recruit an army of militia. Why are we recruiting militia? Well, it goes to their abilities. They have a policing bonus, which means their army repression is actually greater than standard infantry and army units. We will repair things to help out, and we will actually create the cobbled roads to help out with our movement and our replenishment, which is absolutely dire Really, really terrible there. So the militia is going to help as well with fighting off any rebellions. We might want to bring in Michael Stoll over here. We don't see anything massive coming out from the French here. We will be dealing, once as I said, with massive, massive rebellions. So I think we are actually going to bring in Stoll to help out there for now. Our income stands at 6.1 thousand. If we exempt them from tax, it doesn't do too much to help out there. We do still have a negative on the lower orders there. And the income's gone down to 4.7. I want to keep that high. Keep that decent at 6.1. Double check what's going on with Nelson. It looks like we have repaired the more war type ships over here. So we do have an agent to transport as well. Don't necessarily need him in Spain. So we're going to drop him on mainland France, I think. And give us some good sight over there. So we'll just take out our merchantmen as such, which do still need repairs, so the agent doesn't have to use them. And what we'll do is we shall raid Le Havre over here. There we go. That will stop it from creating any new ships. We actually have a counter spy trace over here, so extra subterfuge when counter spying, of course, which is excellent. We'll just drop him into Paris. Massive stack there. Successful mission. Excellent. Undetected. You can see, yeah, absolutely a massive, massive army there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of colonne d'attaque. Absolutely disgusting. That's more than 2,000 men just in those few units. I'm going to take out Nelson though. We don't necessarily need him raiding that just yet. We can actually try and raid the trade route. That's helped us a little bit. Brought us to 6.7 thousand. And we'll have to think what we want to do exactly with these new trade ships. Obviously, repair them. How much is that going to cost? Can't do that just yet with everything. We'll take 490. We don't see a trade route coming off of this node anymore. I don't remember destroying the Spanish ships on there. Rather interesting. And we should have some empty nodes over here, some ivory, perhaps some sugar over here. As you know, it looks like that's belonging to Portugal. Do have a Batavian trade route controlling some sugar over here. We'll deal with that with Nelson soon enough, I think. Some tea over here would be excellent. So if we control Gibraltar, we absolutely will control these trade nodes later on quite heavily. And then to deal with Spain, it will just be Parma over here, which is excellent. So I think that really is the end turn for us. We do have a new college now that we've taken Madrid. And I think... do want to spend that on our navy. I very much like carronade frigates. It's going to take 10 turns to get top gallants done. I think we take that though. We can always upgrade Salamanca over the next turn if we do really want to. It's not going to be a problem. Can try and trade with the Kingdom of Sardinia. That might help us out a fair bit. Do they have any technology to give us? Of course they don't. Only a minor nation, not to worry. And they have said yes. What has that given us then? It's not really given us too much. I don't know if that's really helped us actually, but not to worry. Okay, yeah, let's go to the next turn then. Okay, so we also have a new gentleman in England. Excellent. What does he do? He does industrial technologies and reduces religious unrest. That's interesting because we're Protestant. I imagine Madrid. We see there's religious unrest. There's a little bit of religious unrest here. So that will certainly help. There's not much else we can do about religion. Yeah, it's 100% Catholicism. And I wouldn't mind that. I'm not entirely sure how you do convert. I wonder if it's just over time. Because in Empire, you can at least recruit missionaries and such. How are the militia doing over here? Excellent. Workers on strike, of course, and a letter of demands as such. We do have sabotage on the school over here. That's rather sad to see. We might want to bring our new gentleman over here so that we do get the most out of him. We have piled in the gentleman so far into Oxford. We do have 3 there. Wouldn't mind spreading out that power. So let's bring Nelson round once again. And he can perform transport duty, as ever. It's very good at transport duty, is Nelson. We do actually have a port over here we can use, which is excellent. So we should be able to just walk along the roads with our gentlemen, provided that the school doesn't get sabotaged once again. It can of course duel with. Let's just move him. It's not going. Let's try and raid this. It's not helping too much. Not to worry. So let's repair over here while we think about it. We have actually captured a corvette which we'll send to our secondary navy. So what do we want to spend our money on? What do we want to spend our money on is the question. Don't see any French armies coming once again. I'll just sabotage this army, I think. It did get detected unfortunately, so that's not worked. Okay, we can delay. I think we'll try and delay the revolution over here because we are on neutral happiness with exemption from tax there. It will of course bring our income down, but we're quite happy to sacrifice that for now if it does stop the revolution from happening. We get vineyards and we get markets. We're absolutely upgrading these. Absolutely upgrading these. That will be some very good long-term economic growth there for us. Very, very good indeed. What we can do with Michael Stahl is actually take Gibraltar while we replenish with our army over here. That'd be very nice indeed, actually. Very, very nice indeed. So that's all of our money gone once again. Not to worry, we can't of course research top gallants with our school damaged, but not to worry, that will only take one turn as long as it doesn't get sabotaged once again. And we're not really seeing too much movement. We're going to keep our spy passively spying over here so that we do build up a spy network, which will give us full sight over the central Paris region. And that's a lot of France to see there because this Paris region, of course, is absolutely huge and does cover the majority of the French land there. So with that being said, I think we're also going to try and spy in Toulouse over here and get a spy network going so we can actually see all the way to this border with Marseille, which would be excellent. As far as diplomacy goes, not really much is going on. We can trade with our allies, the Kingdom of Naples there. We've missed that, so we'll certainly do that. And that's helping us out a tad actually, so that's very nice indeed. But again, fairly numb turn, not much going on, just making sure we don't get to the massive revolt in Spain, of course. So we actually have an extra unit recruited. That's something I forgot about. We have HMS Elephant. Excellent. Very, very nice indeed. We're certainly sending that to Nelson's navy over here. Really want to bolster him up so that we can really take fights as and when we want. I'm still a little bit scared of taking naval fights, despite winning so far by the skin of our teeth. Must I remind you, we have built a factory in Wales over here. Does that unlock the next tier? It certainly does unlock the next tier of industrial technology. So I'm actually might want to go for something over here rather than researching top gallants. We're certainly going to need the help of that gentleman. And I think it's 6,000 to upgrade. It's 3,000. Okay. Do we want to do that just yet though? Because that will ask for more clamour for reform. Although having said that, that's really the least of our problems at the moment. It's only by one more. So it's not the worst, to be honest. And it improves faction-wide, interestingly, so that will help with our extra college. That's okay, yeah, we'll certainly do that. We'll certainly do that. And then it will produce more gentlemen for us. I really want to get the economic technologies going. Things like joint stock company will help us out a lot, because that's a passive +10 per turn to every region. Reduces the cost of industrial buildings, and we'll be able to get the final tier of our banking and merchant houses. We do have a few of those running as well, so joint stock company is absolutely brilliant. Plateways as well, more money from mines. We don't have loads of mines actually, so I think really we want to go for steam engines so we can actually get the extra tier of mines, and of course the dry dock so we can get out some really, really nasty naval power there. Let's come in to Madrid with our militia though, and see if that's helping us out too much. We'll see a dip as we leave with Wellesley there. Yeah, and that's very nice indeed. So that's brought us up to neutral once again. That does free out Wellesley. I might want to bring him actually to either Barcelona or Navarra over here because I think the replenishment's just a tad better. Yeah, we do have a lot of assets in Madrid. We have... we're going to have this trade port when we clear this out later on. So that's a trade port, a military dry dock. We have the school, we have some pastures, we have a gold mine, quite literally a gold mine, and we have a musket factory which we can use later on. So it's very nice to have a recruiting ground in Madrid as well. To help out our happiness though, we're going to have to upgrade the Opera House. Can't afford anything really interesting there at the moment though. And that, I mean, we can't afford too much in the homeland either. It's rather sad to say. We should have this navy repaired though. So what do we want to do? We want to go for the cotton? What else do we have over here? It's tobacco, cotton. It's just tobacco and cotton so far, and furs. Okay, so what we can do is go to trade. Cotton's worth 31, furs are 25, tobacco's 31. So we want to go for either cotton or tobacco, don't we? I think what we do is we scout out with the Corvette first, over here. There shouldn't be any. Yeah, there's certainly no Spanish. Ah, okay, there is a Spanish minor fleet over here. It's only 3 enemy ships. We can probably deal with us actually with this particular group. Got a Razzie over here, very much like Razzies. Let's see, 3. Yeah, it should be fine. Should be fine. Quite happy to. That'd be more experience for our admirals over here. Don't have to get in the larger ships all the time. The problem with that is that we will be freeing up whatever's in this port. It's just the admiral over here. Jean-Jacques Etienne, Lucas. That's okay. It's only the one ship. Shouldn't do too much damage to us. So what we can do is we're not going to force the engagement just yet, but we'll keep an eye on that. And we'll send these ships. Might want to secure the tobacco over here, I think. Shouldn't be anything there. Certainly isn't. That's excellent. So that's 1,400 trade income coming for us. That's really, really good. Even with the reduced taxes from Spain, that's bumped us up once again to 6.3 thousand, which is amazing. So once we get that going, let's just double check what that will look like. 7.1 once we get that's up. With improvements and such, that will just keep going. So an absolute money maker. This is why we go for Spain first, because it's such a money maker. It gives us great control on our flank and opens up a second entry to France, of course. We do still have to take Parma. Is there anything else we can do on this particular turn? I don't really think so, to be honest. Nothing too interesting, really. We might want to upgrade the Gentlemen's Club, the Secret Society, to help out recruiting spies. So much else we can do. Magistrates wouldn't necessarily be bad for some base solid income. I think I prefer the idea of doing the magistrates at the moment, just for that income bonus. So we finally have mass mobilization, which has unlocked the next tier of military buildings. We get the drill school, so we're certainly going to upgrade our barracks in London too. That will take 8 turns, but we need to get that done as quickly as possible, of course. With that being said, we're also going to upgrade our ordnance factory to try and keep up with that. If we get that going, and then we can, once we get the drill school, we can get Grander Battery to get the ordnance school, which will let us get howitzers. I believe this one, no, we don't get howitzers from the ordnance factory, but I'm very excited for howitzers. And we'll try and incorporate more cannonry into our armies with those. So it's a long process to get to them, so the earlier the better. We also have a 98 gun second rate, and you know what, I think we're going to bring that into our secondary navy just for a little bit of backbone, and that'll make me less scared to take fights. We also have cobbled roads. That's the homeland, which is excellent. That should have happened a lot earlier, if you ask me. And when we're able to afford it, it's 4,500 per metalled road, but that really helps out with your growth. Lewis and Clark have reached the Pacific Ocean, which is excellent. That's the first in-game year dealt with then. That's some good progress for just 1 year. Let's go straight on to Gibraltar, shall we, and start a fight there. We actually don't have the movement. Don't quite have the movement. We'll stand outside threateningly and shout insults at the Spanish garrison there. What we'll do is, of course, force ourselves into Navarra. Has helped out our replenishment a tad, so we'll sit inside the buildings over here. And that will help us out a tiny bit. We can see some rousings from the French, but I think really they're dealing with the Prussian invasion into the Netherlands over here. So that should keep the French occupied for some time. And what's really scary about that is that means the Prussians do have a sizable army trying to attack France. If they do take Paris, we're going to have to go to war with Prussia, which is interesting to say the least. Do we need to take Brussels for a victory objective? Let's see. No, we don't. That's okay then. It's all good. So on the next turn, we'll be taking Gibraltar. Going to keep some money in the bank there, waiting for the unrest, the resistance to go down there. And we should be letting Spain pay taxes very soon. It's all respecting Englishmen would like to see. We're still unable to research in here. Why is that? Is that because there's an enemy gentleman in there? How does the duel work? 50-50. What about assassination? That's 57, but it's not a lot better, is it? We'll try a duel. We don't do duels very much.
Et spiritus Dei
Well, I'm quite happy to say that that wasn't our gentleman. Opponent killed. Yeah, okay, excellent. Can we actually enter there? We certainly can. Okay, that's rather interesting. This enemy gentleman do block your own research. I've never noticed that in all my hundreds of hours playing this game. So, we do get the bonus to the industrial technologies, and to be honest, top gallants is fine. It's absolutely fine, but I want joint stock companies. Absolutely a useful and integral technology there. And we also have another agent recruited in Spain, another gentleman. Excellent stuff. How does he help? He helps with industrial technology as well, so we know what Salamanca is going to specialise in. In a few turns, that will be a true classical university to help us out. We also have a spy network fully established in Paris, which is excellent. You can see the massive region we're talking about here. We do have Rainier coming in with a large stack of units. So we're going to take our agents from here. Percival Slaughter. Actually, that's looking like he's coming down southwards. We don't necessarily need to move, and we don't have the movement range to do anything on this turn. We actually see Napoleon over here. Just Napoleon. That's very interesting. That's very interesting indeed, actually. We don't have the movement to do anything to him just yet. Assassination is 41%, but that won't be permanent, so he will come back over the next couple of turns after that. We do have a vineyard in Navarra. Excellent. We do have the Copple Growers in Dublin as well. I'm sure they're very happy for that. But we are finally going to take Gibraltar. And yeah, again, fairly easy. Very, very chevroned artillery here. That is very, very scary to see. Some very good accuracy on them. So at the end of the day, we do have a massive numbers advantage, and our infantry is just that much better than theirs, of course. Okay, so as we start this battle, I'm going to try and be very, very greedy and take this hill right in the face of the Spanish. Going to move up with some King's German Legion and some standard line infantry there. Going to move up behind them with our general to support their morale. We do have range with our cannons onto the enemy, but they do have the high ground advantage here, and of course the cover advantage being inside the town, of course. We have managed to counter battery a little bit already by taking away 2 guns from these cannon units, which is excellent. So we'll focus on that. as the fire at will says there. We're going to try and push around. It looks like the enemy has focused on deploying very centrally in the town. So we're going to try and force them out with this flank. We're going to bring in our cavalry completely on this flank as well. Try and force them round, try and cause some havoc in the centre here if possible. We do need to watch out. We can see some massive stakes over here which will rip apart our cavalry. Defending our central line with some backbone reinforcements here. These will be some reserve, I think, really, because I'm not entirely sure what to do with the map that we have over here. We can push with the centre over here with some more elite Swiss Grenadiers and some Black Brunswickers over here. So we can push in a tad. We'll take this tree line over here. And then if need be, they can push up, take these minor buildings over here, take the cover there. But of course the enemy once again does have a hill advantage over here. So they'll be firing down into us there with some greater cover. We do have the cover of this hill to protect against some cannon fire as we approach here. We have taken some losses onto the King's German Legion there. And once we take this hill, we will be open to that cannon fire once again. So how's the counter battery going? We haven't destroyed any more guns, but because the enemy's moving through their cannons, we should be getting some more morale penalties onto the enemy there and just clip through some of their infantry where possible. We do see some armed citizenry in this battle as the enemy's standing natural garrison. What we'll do is we'll take our cannons and really, I think, tell them to focus fire on the infantry coming in here where possible. Looks like, I'm not entirely sure where that was aimed. We'll take off fire at will and tell them to go for this. Cannons not always the most responsive units. Didn't manage to hit any cannons in this particular shot, but it did plunge right into the enemy there. Not taking any friendly fire, are they? Which is rather sad to see. Might just want to sit behind the brow of this hill while the cannons are still firing, actually. We'll of course keep our general behind so that he doesn't get hit by any cannons. And that'll just be while we move up and perform a circle around the enemy. Okay, so the enemy is trying to charge up this hill ahead of us, so we're going to try and double time over it. We'll make our men tired and bring them, expose them to all of this potential firepower around here, but I'm fairly confident we can keep our ground here, keep our general behind the lip of the hill. We should be in range with his radius there. The enemy's deciding what to do with the cavalry there. We are firing with our cannons. They should take a massive volley as they come into range over here. Let's try and watch that. Should be about ready. Yeah, you can see the cannons coming. We might have to perform a square very soon though, depending on what way they go, but they are rousing, so we'll just pepper them there. And how are we doing? Firing down the hill into the garrison over here. Look at that, while they're still deciding what to do with their own formation. And that is absolutely brilliant. Very, very nice early engagement there. Now that we have the new technology, a mass mobilization, I do believe that gives us the inspire ability with the general, so that's very new. We can use that to boost the performance of a selected unit. We'll just move a little forwards because we're not quite in range with our area of influence here, denoted by the blue circle. We are still performing our massive flank around the town, and what we'll do is we'll push a little harder with our cavalry, just double check there's no spike traps on this particular area. There is of course that central one in the town, this massive thing here we wanted to watch out for. Once again the cavalry is decided to come in, but we're hidden once again, and our grenadiers will be able to perform a volley before they exit the range there once again, and they will completely shatter, which is excellent. So we can redirect our cannon fire, I think once again to the central line over here. How are we doing with range over here? Are we... Yeah, we're reloading, we are firing, that's excellent. Are we fine with everyone in this line? We certainly are, and that is great. So how does that affect the enemy's morale? They're tired, which is great. Under small arms fire, certainly losing that. So their general's deciding to charge in. He's very, very brave. He might get clipped by a cannonball, and he might decide, if we're very lucky, to charge our centre line here. don't necessarily need the reserves, I don't think, which is rather sad because we do have some elite Swiss line infantry, but not to worry, we can just hold our ground here for the minute. And if need be, we will push up to the centre to reinforce our units on the hill here. We're not taking too much damage ourselves, we are holding with our morale. General's going to take some clipping damage, lost 3 men, but behind the lip of the hill we shouldn't be taking any direct fire. Really want to get our cavalry in. We do have to watch out for, we just noticed some spike traps on the flank here, so that makes it difficult even more over here. That does make it difficult to approach the cannons. We're going to have to come around, I think, then from this particular angle to charge the cannons when possible, but with this massive infantry blocking the way, that's not going to happen just yet. We just need to bide our time, wait for our infantry to come in here, and they're actually positioned really far back for the minute because we weren't sure how the enemy were moving, so what we'll do is perform some thick columns over here and really pressure the enemy, get right in their faces, perhaps take the cover of the building over here. This is garrisonable, and so is this farmhouse actually. Oh, that was a bloody big farmhouse. More of a manor estate, these two, as you'd expect in a provincial capital. But absolutely great to see the downwards fire here onto the militia. They're actually holding out longer than I'd have thought. We do need some wider lines, I think, to get some greater fire out. So we'll double time this. I think actually, despite what I said earlier, it's going to be a good idea to push in a little harder with our central line, isn't it? So that we can advance slowly. Enemies deciding to position over here, threatening to look vulnerable actually for our cavalry, but we do need to be aware of the spike traps hiding a deadly trap there. Generals decided to take the hill, so he's no longer charging into us. Yeah, this fight is taking a little too long. It looks like we're splitting our fire a little too much, but finally rousing off this provincial garrison, which is great. Might want to spread out our lines a little thinner here though, just so we get more guns firing. So I think we'll take the opportunity to do that. We do still hold a hill advantage here, if we do so. And that's absolutely brilliant. But we can see the enemies bring in more units over here, some more line infantry. But they're also tired as well. And that will affect their morale. We're getting rid of the really chevroned units here as well, which is excellent. That has broken. Not completely though. That will take a few more volleys to fully shatter them. I'm suddenly wishing I had at least one unit of light cavalry in this very immediate vicinity to take those on. Okay, we're getting harassed now. Okay. So, what we do is we bring one unit over here, double time that. One unit, that's actually going to be very, very awkward. That's armed citizenry, that should shatter very quickly. What we might want to do is actually just halt here. Take our fire at will because we'll start causing friendly casualties there. Get a few shots in where possible. And then, yeah, they're going to try and force some melee. That's absolutely fine. They're not going to be able to win that. Massive morale shock as they try to go in. And I think we'll get a couple more shots off if possible. And what we'll do is we'll try and engage in melee as well. With that overwhelming force over here, we should take a very easy melee. And it looks like they're going for that now. If we can get one more volley off, doesn't appear to be the case. Let's go for a melee here as well. Not often you see a melee, but we're certainly well equipped to do so. Enemy's tired here. We're winded. Might want to try and bring one unit of cavalry just to get a good rear charge on now that we have the opportunity there. But that is going to buy time for the central enemy line there. So we're going to push up with our own line once again. I think to begin with we make that a little messy and take the house cover there, the building cover. Make sure we are firing into the centre of that line there. And we'll start charging into the flank of this cavalry here. And you love to see it. Excellent mass cavalry charge there into the flank with some light dragoons there. Absolutely brilliant. That has torn apart the enemy's morale, and they should break very, very soon. They certainly do. We can chase that off, I think. There's that spike trap there to watch out for. But we'll take our men out of melee and line them up here very quickly. Fairly thick lines, but not a problem. Stay away from the centre because of this. We'll just watch. Actually, just engage very quickly there once again. But struggling with the pathing. So we're just going to stop that. We're just going to stop and pull out with our cavalry because that will just cause more damage that we don't need to see. Get securely on the flank here. Look at the mass bodies here though. That's excellent. Excellent for us. We have pushed up with our central line. We can push up a little harder now, I think. If one unit can't stand on this hill properly, what we'll do is we'll force ourselves into the garrison, and that means we can spread out a little further with these units. Threatened by the cannons, of course. We are losing a lot of men in this unit though, and they're very, very low on ammo. But they've done their job. They've held the hill extremely well. So I think actually we will pull back with this particular unit. Save them a bit of trouble. General's somewhat open to a cavalry charge, but right on these spike traps once again. Let's double time this. What happened? We do have 3 units there. Let's come back over here. We should be about ready to start firing on their general. I want to spread out a little more with our men so we do get more guns firing. The enemy is going to cannon us a shot now by the looks of things with their cannons. Just dissuaded a tad by these spike traps. We're going to run their general down very quickly. We should be getting some shots out. We've neglected to turn on fire at will once again. Not a problem. We certainly sort this out very quickly. We have taken this building, so we're now flanking the enemy with some good cover. And the enemy general is dead after that very nice cavalry charge. We're going to have to pull out there before we hit this spike trap. And that does open us up to taking this flank. We'll run into the infantry here, finally take that hill advantage, destroy the enemy infantry in the centre, pull out, and that is the Spanish army crumbled. And really Gibraltar should be taken there. They're firing shrapnel or grape shot into the building here. It's rather interesting. Look at that, we do have the cover firing over the wall there, firing out of the windows. All positions there. Excellent stuff. Bit of an uphill charge there, but not to worry. They're surrounded. They're completely tired now, and they will shatter. Let's just make sure this unit shatters completely. And it's their cannons are the last people standing, so we can just force a melee once again, get on top of that. So it does take a little too long to shoot down cannon fire actually. And with that being said, we're just going to pull back behind the buildings here with these units so that we don't take extra losses there. And that will be that. And there we go. 648 men lost on our side is not inconsiderable, but for Gibraltar that is absolutely brilliant. Once again, we can't turn that into a puppet state, but not to worry, probably won't go into anyway. And that is another agent recruit. We've actually think we looked at that. In Spain we certainly have. Just popping up once again for us. No worries. So, Gibraltar is ours, and that is, of course, Spain completely under our control. We're going to turn this into a magistrate. Not so worried about recruiting units here. We're going to get the cobble roads up as well. And that's also another trade port for us. And we do control the Straits of Gibraltar very nicely there. So the only territory Spain should have now is Palma over here, which is excellent. Should be fairly easy to take once we have recovered our losses there. And that should only take a couple turns really for the majority of our units there. So that will be the end of the video, guys. We've taken the Iberian Peninsula and therefore ended the war in that particular region, which is an amazing first goal completed. Onwards to France and Parma then for the next stage of the campaign. So I shall see you in the future for that. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.